welcome to Top Shelf Nerds, the show for nerds by nerds about nerds. I am DJ, and with me today are Buck, and we call ourselves Nerds Amalgamated. We have an interesting episode today, so let's get the show on the road. So, Buck, you have the first topic today. What have you got?
Well, there's an interesting twist in the robot delivery technology. So there's actually a robot company called Starship Technologies, and they're planning to build 1,000 delivery bots.
Wow.
They'll actually have a fleet of 1,000 delivery bots by 2019, operating from 2 campuses. So yeah, quite interesting to look at some of the pictures of it and consider the possibilities.
Imagine 1,000 of these running around campus.
I'm actually liking the idea.
Yeah.
Like R2D2 and K9 are coming into reality.
What have they specified? Like, where they deliver?
Well, it's in Milton Keyes, so
Okay,
which is an English area. So yeah, the robots will be put to work in 20 university or work campuses across the US, UK, and Germany.
So that'd be fun. American campus is fun. UK campus?
It looks like, looking at the article here, it says it's following trials with Just Eat to deliver takeaway in South London. And they've got, just trying to see, the 100,000 miles of delivery journeys completed so far. And the firm claims that none have been stolen or vandalized.
That's pretty crazy.
100,000, and yet no one has decided to steal them.
Do you remember the hitchhiking robot?
Yes.
It got halfway across America and then someone beat it up.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is in South London. This isn't in America, where America seem to have this genetic preconditioning after generations where they've got the rule ingrained into them of, if it doesn't move, paint it. If it moves, salute it, from the military. And it's come across to the general population of, you've just got to paint everything. So you look at some beautiful pieces of timber furniture, and it's come through into the TV shows here where they've got the people doing the interior decorating. They've got beautiful timber furniture, and then they go and paint it and then give it a distressed look.
My sister's a big fan of Better Homes and Gardens, and every week there's some host who joined a couple of years ago, and that was when I reckon it went downhill, because she started just taking everything, like all these vintage furniture and vintage records and stuff, and melting them or burning them or painting them over in some shitty modernist paint.
I honestly cannot sit in the same room as that TV show, because especially if my father's there, because the only thing distressed about the whole situation is its react, because it's destroying I personally hate the idea of just covering up the timber, but my dad takes serious offense, and you sit there in the room and he's yelling at the TV half the time going, "You stupid idiot, how dare you paint that timber, that was beautiful." And then there's a big fight between him and my mum about, he's yelling at the TV. But when he's not there, she's yelling at the TV about the same thing.
Do you guys have? I'm assuming you guys don't watch The Block, then?
No, I actually have a lot.
I
actually prefer something that's actually intelligent. Most reality TV.
Well, it follows the general rule that humans love drama. Big Brother and Survivor shows us that.
No, it's not that humans love drama. It's just that it's the cheapest drama.
Most people actually prefer something intelligent. But getting back on topic here with all this article, apparently in Germany, car giant Mercedes-Benz uses the robots to deliver parcels internally. So talking about getting back on topic with the robots.
When you say internally, do you mean as in like from office to office kind of environment, or just...
Oh, it's in the factory as well. Have you actually seen the size of Mercedes Hamburg operation?
It's big. I remember...
It's insane. They've actually got a mail system for and so forth for delivering parcels and the internal mail, where they've actually got like their own postal network, and they have guys who ride push bikes to get around. Like, they've actually got push bikes available to get from department to department because it's so big.
Yeah, those that facility is insane.
So they're actually using these robots to deliver parcels. And actually, I saw a thing on Facebook yesterday, which is actually very similar to this, where there's a suitcase you can now get that actually follows you around.
just like the luggage in Discworld.
Well, yeah. It's a robot suitcase. I don't remember who it is that makes it. I've posted. I think I've shared it on the Nerds Amalgamated page. But it's just, yeah, it follows you around, and yeah, it was on the Tech Insider page. So big shout out to those guys. Beautiful looking little piece. Like it's like a carry-on bag, but it follows you around, and you can put other bags and stuff on top of it, and it tracks your phone by a smartphone app.
You mean the Travel Mate Robotics?
That's it. Top speed of 6.75 miles per hour if you have to run, and it's got special flashing lights, so it looks like it could be out of Tron.
What's its maximum range?
It stays within a certain what?
I mean, like how far can it
go?
drive in a day?
Can't see those details. But if you actually look on Facebook, there, it's looking a lot of fun, and I can see so much stuff being done with this now. I can see people putting mannequins and so forth on them just to stir people up.
And getting stuck in Changi or Frankfurt, it would I reckon like it would need a really good battery life though, because those airports are huge.
Well, like I haven't seen all the bits and pieces, but yeah, like I have to get a proper look at the details. But the robots are taking over the world. We're going to have R2D2 and K9 Tron bike.
All we need now is Skynet.
I think I heard that Skynet actually does exist. There is actually a company called Skynet or Skymesh.
Yeah.
Skymesh, sorry. There's actually a NBN provider called Skymesh in Australia.
And isn't it also a Google project that they were calling Skynet?
I do believe so.
Oh my god.
Some of our fellow nerds on the dark side with a good sense of humor.
But this machine, I know it hasn't been stolen or vandalized. But can you see it going? Can you see it happening? Even with the large number of robots coming in, like 1,000 robots, someone's gonna bound to steal them.
Well, they've got GPS trackers and all that on them, and cameras and so forth. And at the end of the day, is it really worth stealing something and going to jail over just to get food? Like, theft is theft.
At least for the first,
and if you vandalise it, it's going to go pretty harsh on you.
At least for the first few years, I reckon it'll probably stick to more affluent areas. So, because the market for people to get robotic deliveries like that won't exist in poorer areas. So I expect it'll be even less likely to get robbed for the first couple of years.
Actually, I'll actually go against you on that one. I actually looked at some research once, and it shows that there's actually a higher concentration of takeaway food and so forth in the less affluent areas, and delivery services operate a lot higher in the more marginalised working class area, and they're not going to mess with the food, whereas some rich kid is likely to sit there and do it just for a laugh because they don't really give a damn.
Fair enough.
Just looking at the psychology of it and some of the other research that I have looked at on different times on different things. Yeah, poor people don't mess with the food. Like you won't find them stuffing up where someone's delivering food that they're going to use. Whereas rich kids are usually more likely to just be bored, so they'll go out and do something stupid.
Mind you, looking at the page as well, and they're saying it's only for delivering groceries. So yeah, Buck's got a
fair enough.
The article is actually by Melanie Abbott. So yeah, quite an interesting thing. I'm actually going to start following some of her work just to see what else she's got. She's from BBC Radio 4. You and yours. So she's on the tech page. Interesting to see. So yeah, bit of a step forward. I always keep trying to find these bits and pieces. And so yeah, as I said, they've got the tracking stuff there, so it'd be quite interesting to see where it comes out. Oh, actually, I just saw something. Starship was set up by the two co-founders, or by two of the co-founders of Skype in 2014.
Oh, so that's where they went after they got bought out by Microsoft.
Well, two of them have gone over here, and yes, they're not saying how much the current expansion will cost, but have raised nearly £15 million in funding over the last year. So they're not cheap little things. Looking at the pictures of them, you got 6 wheels, a little orange flag sticking up the top, and they literally look like the K9 robot.
And that is awesome.
So might want to move along to the next topic now. We appear to have lost the DJ. He has had a meltdown or something.
That explains why everything suddenly went quiet.
No,
I
he's back.
He's back.
Sorry, my voice chip. Sorry, my voice chip malfunctioned all of a sudden.
So nice.
It happened.
I was thinking of that song, "Silence is Golden." But yeah, we're just about to move on to the next topic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which was Victory Motors? No, sorry. That's what I was reading. Sorry, I was reading an article about a car.
Okay.
So the next topic is on the professor with the PlayStation giving FTC warning. What's that one about?
Yep. About the warranty void if removed stickers. It's sort of trickling down now. The first big win in this area was for farmers. The big companies like John Deere tried to make it so that farmers couldn't legally repair their own tractors, and you had to take them to a dealership like there's some sort of car, and like a farmer can afford to take 2 days off to get his tractor booked in at the local dealership and repaired. And obviously that doesn't work, so farmers started hacking their tractors. And I even heard a story of them importing custom firmware from Eastern Europe where hackers had broken it so that they could get around repair restrictions. Okay. But now it's trickled down through the FTC to hardware manufacturers for phones and gaming consoles. So a bunch of companies have received orders from the FTC to stop including the warranty void if removed stickers, because it's now against the law to void warranty if someone attempts a repair that obviously you'd have to prove that your repair wasn't what caused the issue in the beginning, but they've now made it illegal to repair if someone's already attempted a repair.
Okay.
So even if you want to clean the PlayStation by itself, it's technically warranty voidable. It was technically, it was.
Now they've changed the law, so at least in the US, hopefully it'll come across the pond. But at least in the US, it's now illegal to void your warranty if you open up the case.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm really excited for as a bit of a geek. I like pulling things apart and seeing how they go.
Mm.
So you work on the reverse engineering principle, huh?
No, I mostly follow other people's guides because I don't have enough experience to do a full reverse engineer myself. But I do appreciate it when there's a common problem with a product and it's possible to fix it without having to warranty replace it. Like I have a Pebble watch, may they rest in peace, but it there was a known flaw where the connector between the screen and the motherboard would come loose, and the fix for that was to put a bit of cardboard in the back panel to hold everything firmly. So the people who make Pebble, they basically said it's okay, you can do that, but if it had been a big company, then they would have voided my warranty for doing that. And that's just such a simple repair that I shouldn't have to send it back for a warranty repair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a godsend for so many people in the end. And not only that,
your voice has gone very quiet.
Hey, what you doing in ethical? Seuss as a
skip DJ. Hello, DJ.
Well, Seuss.
DJ, can you hear us?
His logic circuit seems to have gone and fried itself again there, folks.
Yeah, I'm right back. I'm back.
Okay, have you plugged that chip back in properly?
Yep, it's fully plugged in.
Okay, at least something is. Yeah. Sorry, that article I was talking about before was actually a friend of mine sent me a link to. There's actually a group called Victory Motors. They're a motorcycle company, and yeah, they've got some nice motorbikes. Yes.
But back to what I was saying. So it's interesting how it's not only PlayStation that's getting the warning. It's also Nintendo, HTC, Microsoft.
Well,
Asus.
it's I don't see it as a warning so much as we've changed the rules, get in line.
Yeah.
Because it's only a very recent change, and up until the change happened earlier this year, there was nothing to stop them from doing it. So it's basically just saying, guys, remember we changed this, get in line now, or we will have to crack down on you.
Yeah, here's what it says: Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Hyundai, HTC, and Asus is a company.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Actually, I just noticed in the article the act that the Warranty Act is the 1975 Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, which states that no manufacturer charging more than $5 for a product may put repair restrictions on a device that is offering warranty. So it looks like it's actually been illegal for a long time, and they're only just cracking down.
Mm-hmm.
so these companies were just rorting the system.
Well, yeah, because it's one of those things that no one's bothered to check up on until earlier this year.
Mm-hmm. Although it's interesting, it does notice note there, Apple is absent from this round of warning letters.
Yeah.
I guess they're kind of feeling that Apple's already impaired enough. They're often steering customers away from third-party repair shops, suggesting that that's going to avoid the warranty or something like that. But yeah,
There's a guy on YouTube, Lewis Russman, who has been taken to court a couple of times because he runs an Apple repair shop, and they kept taking him to court because he was doing repairs and authorized Apple repair place or whatever.
boo-hoo.
So yeah, so I remember he was quite excited earlier this year when the ruling came down that he wasn't in the wrong.
Okay.
So I'm just seeing the large India one. It's saying 3 cases, the letter specific the use of warranty void if removed stickers or seals breaks the law language.
And if you want to, you can read the article yourself. We will have the link available.
Yep, as opposed to listening to the DJ narrate it for you. I know what I'd prefer.
It might be quicker to read it yourself. Yeah, sorry if I keep coming back to this. But do you guys remember the TV show? I don't know if you ever saw it, called Chips, the California Highway Patrol.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know of it.
Okay. Yeah, that motorbike I was talking about, I mentioned just before. Yeah, it actually looks exactly the same as the motorbike that they had in Chips, but it's for sale here in Australia.
Cool.
And he's posting me a picture, and it's not a Harley Davidson. But yeah, it looks really cool.
So what you're saying is you could buy that and go and film your own California-themed Mad Max movie.
Pretty much. They've actually got a range of different motorbikes that they're a V-twin, so they look very much like the Harley, sound very much like the Harley. They just haven't got the huge screen on the front fairing the way that Chips had. But yeah, there's one there that is painted orange. So it's Victory Motorcycles, or Victory Motors, but it looks like it's the same Victor when you got it in the orange with the grey stripe. It just cuts out the letter Y on the end of it. And it's such a beautiful bike. So yeah, sorry if I'm belaboring the point there.
no,
We get it. You love your motorbikes.
yeah, you're a motorbikes man.
I love the robotics and tech stuff, like mechanics and robotics. So much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And these just look so much like the bikes they had on the TV when I was a kid.
Fair
and
enough.
you could go buy one and go for a ride down the freeway. Like these things are literally, they've got the big saddlebags on the back. They call them a bagger, and it's got the big hard cover saddlebags on the back.
Cool.
So
You know what's going to be interesting, but back to the story, guys. You know what's going to be interesting? I wonder how many other companies are going to be getting the warning after the big 6.
Well, technically, anyone who breaches the legal and refuses to honour a warranty is able to be taken to court about. So
This will be fun. This will be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they've got any legal experts in the audience, do we have a similar act in Australia?
I know that there's things with the warranties where, like as I was just saying, like there's a lot of stuff. I'm not sure the exact wording on a lot of the stuff. Like you have a 30-day cooldown period is by law, and a lot of companies try to say you've only got a 14-day cooling off period, and they turn around and they say, oh yeah, but we said in the small print that it's only a 14-day cooling off period, and you've signed to agree to that.
But you can't do that.
Technically, no, well, they're not allowed to. They can put it in there. You can agree
Not that
to
it means anything, though.
Yeah,
If
it doesn't
if
mean
anyone
anything.
thinks
And
that-
two, they have to actually specifically say that is a reduced cooling off period. And even then, it still doesn't mean anything by law.
Yep.
I'm at the consumer competition website in the section of repairs. If the problem, it says, I quote, if the problem with the product or service minor, you must accept free repair if the business offers you one. And
Okay, but is there anything about the timing of how they do it?
pun?
Is there anything in relation to the time frame available in that?
Or whether you can still get a warranty repair if you've already opened the case.
So if it's like a major problem, you mean, or?
Well, is it illegal for them to put a sticker on the side of something saying void if your warranty is void if tampered with?
I don't really see it.
Okay. Well, if we have any experts in the audience, we'd love to hear from you.
It's saying it was similar to what you guys are saying. It's if a product or a good has a major problem. One of the aspects is if it doesn't do what you asked for, or cannot be easily fixed within a reasonable time. Yeah, that's what they classify as a major problem. So
Okay, that doesn't really sound relevant to what we're asking, though.
yeah,
but it is the time frame thing. So with some of the tractors and stuff for farmers, it's more the time frame sometimes. That's the reason why they're brain hacks and whatnot. Although most of the farm most of the farm people, they actually sell the tractors and so forth in Australia. You usually have someone who races out quick to repair stuff. If you pay $500,000 for a tractor, you want someone to be able to come out there in the middle of the night. It's broken.
Yeah.
Some of those tractors are insane these days, though, like air conditioning, cup holders. They drive themselves.
My brother lives
Amazing.
in rural areas, and some of the tractors out there, they've actually got like GPS plots for where the tractor's going to go on the fields.
Yeah.
And we're talking when we say fields here, I'm talking like they've got areas that are like 1 kilometre or 2 long and 2 or 3 kilometres wide, and they've got the tractors running on that, and it's following a GPS plot. And the farmer sits there in the cabin in air-conditioned comfort, overseeing the fact that the machine's operating itself while drinking coffee and doing what he's got to do.
I've seen people on Reddit say that they watch Netflix while they're riding around in their tractor.
Yeah, I've seen one guy who has actually had 3 tractors operating side by side, where like one's actually like the harvesting, the next one is the baling sort of thing, and the third one is a truck trailer sort of thing, and it moves up as the trailers get full and goes back to the staging area and is unloaded and comes back, catches up. Like it's just the guy does that professionally. He just goes around and does harvesting. He has these all set up and programmed in. It goes and does all the collection. So that's the reason why they're paying $500,000 for the machines.
Yeah, but unfortunately, if one breaks down, it's a lot harder to repair.
yeah,
Especially the electrical parts.
Especially if you're doing it in the middle of the field as well.
My pop has a 70-year-old tractor that still runs fine.
Nice.
But it doesn't have a cab, doesn't have air conditioning, no cup holders.
No, the farm that my father worked on when he was only about 18 used to have a tractor that was one of the first diesel tractors in the area where the farm was.
Cool.
And it used to be a crank start to get it going. So you'd actually have to have, they originally had to have someone at the front to spin the crank handle to get it started. But they used to just park it on top of the hill so they could just do a hill start.
That must be fun riding on the track.
And it was still running in early 90s. They still had that tractor there, and it was operational. It was a bone shaker. It did have suspension.
So it's like driving a car without any power steering or airbags or that.
Yeah, they're just incredibly basic. That's how they keep going for so long.
Yeah.
It didn't actually have tires. It had steel wheels with spiked tread pattern stuff cut into the actual wheel itself. And when I say steel, I mean literally it was steel, not copper or rubber overlay or anything like that. It was actual proper metal.
Yep.
And it just kept working year after year after year after year after year. And we still think there's actually a certain percentage of the farmer who owned it, who bought it brand new, is in there. And yeah, just all the other people who have operated over the years have left a certain amount of their own DNA in blood, sweat, and tears on working on it.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, you got other people doing other things, but yeah, no, just the blood, sweat, and tears of working on the land and working on the tractor. That it should literally be able to get the same the amount of deed that's lost in and personality that
The way you were saying that made me think of a movie idea. Ghost Tractor.
Oh,
The
Australia
tractor
could
is
do it.
possessed by the ghost of a farmer who cannot rest until his field is plowed.
well, wait, isn't there a similar horror movie called Children of the Corn?
That's
No, that's
well, there is a movie
different,
called
isn't it?
Children of the Corn, but it's not about plowing the field. That's evil coming
It's
to take
about,
over the
like-
world.
Yeah.
He who moves behind the corn.
Oh, yeah, wait.
I apologize, folks. The DJ hasn't actually watched this movie. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Is that
You mean
an original quote from the movie, or is it like an older reference
He
to Satan
he
or
who moves
something?
behind the corn. I think that's
Yeah.
it's from the movie, as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah, Children of the Corn. It's the villain is called He Who Moves Behind the Fields.
Behind the rose.
Yeah, he who moves. He moves. Yeah, he who walks behind the road.
Okay.
But there's a lot of legend stuff in behind a lot of this sort of stuff. I can't remember who it was who wrote the original story. In some ways, it feels very Stephen King.
Yeah, it's Stephen King.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually watched it, and I've actually watched all of those movies.
and that movie's still going. That franchise is going.
What, Stephen King?
No, there is a new one coming out this year.
Is there? Okay,
Yeah.
I
And
knew it
you
was up
Children
to,
of the Corn.
I knew it was up to number
Yeah.
7. I didn't
Okay.
think they'll make it anymore.
They're making one. It's called Children of the Corn Runaway.
I didn't know it had that many sequels.
It was
Yeah.
up to number 7, and apparently there's going to be a number 8.
Oh, there was
Okay.
already there was already
Right.
one in.
I expect it will be much like the Land Before Time sequels.
Ah,
First two are all right, and then the rest are shit.
actually, that's
No idea.
Actually, Buck, it's number
Get
9.
off of that, Bucky.
Actually, Buck, it's number 9. Number 8 was Children of the Corn Genesis, and that was 2011.
Okay, I have to get hold of that.
And what
one
year
now.
did Terminator Genesis come out?
That came out 2015.
Okay, so it's not like the name's just ripped off. Then it's not just a coincidence.
Yeah, Terminator ripped it off of Children of the Corn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that'd be a cool sci-fi flick. Children of the
What?
Corn, they came back in time.
They're actually interesting movies to watch. Just kind of creepy in some ways. In other ways, you sit there and you have a laugh.
Hey, it's Stephen King, and he does a good sci-fi. He can do a sci-fi fantasy type series.
Oh, this is more for the horror, and I think he only wrote the first story, and then other people have taken just run from it, because the rest of them aren't on the same level.
But speaking of sci-fi fantasy, Netflix is going to be making more sci-fi fantasy shows few months. Apparently, and it's going to be primarily its main focus.
Nice segue there. You've been working on for the last few days, haven't you?
Nah,
I bet he got a time traveler from the future to tell him exactly what we were going to say before the transition, so he could prepare a segue.
yes, somewhere.
No, because he was too smooth on it. Like, if he was trying to copy something that someone had given him, it would be stilted and he would stuff it up somewhere.
You're right.
It'd be so, like, he would start talking about historical movies or something like that instead of science fiction. Like, this is DJ we're talking about here. Come on.
Ah, nice. But
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
as I was saying, so Netflix is going to be its main focus now. Is going to be sci-fi and fantasy shows, and this is based on a report by an analytical firm called Ampere Analysis.
Oh, I was getting worried that you were going to say Analytica. What's its name?
Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge Analytica. I was thinking, no, not another
data?
Facebook fallout.
Yeah, they changed our name today or yesterday.
So, according to these guys, they were saying that the genre itself has overtaken comedy as the most popular Netflix original category, and
I'm glad you put in that little qualifier that it in Netflix saying it's Netflix's reported popularity. It's the Sci-Fi Channel, or Sci-Fi Network, whatever they call them, have been absolutely huge for a long time.
And customers and the company also said that more than a quarter, 29% of Netflix's upcoming original content fits into the sci-fi and fantasy category. So, and this is because of like all the sci-fi shows that we know of that are in Netflix, like Stranger Things, Lost in Space.
And let's not forget the truly giant heavyweight here, Game of Thrones.
Wait, that's a HBO.
That's not. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's generated all the interest, like shows such as that. Like Netflix has just cashed in the fact that Game of Thrones has absolutely taken the world by Harry Potter and so forth. Like you got all these fantastic franchises that have developed such a massive following, and Netflix is going, there's a market in there that we should be addressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
But here's the thing though. We did because earlier on, Netflix posted its results, and they said that the most viewed show in Netflix, it wasn't Stranger Things, it was 13 Reasons Why, which is kind of odd. Like,
Yeah, that's a straight up drama.
yeah,
No sci-fi or fantasy or anything in there.
that's
And
a
I'm
straight
going-
up abomination.
Oh come on! It did raise an awareness.
It's the one that the actual psychologist said,
No.
don't watch if you're depressed.
It was also the one where they actually went to and spoke with psychologists about things that they're not supposed to talk about, and then they actually went and just wrote the script that was actually discussing all these things and hitting all those trigger points. So there's actually a massive backlash from all those who study psychology and going, you come and ask us a question, what not to look at and what not to talk about, and all these trigger issues. We tell you these things because sound like you're trying to be reasonable and professional, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, actually, that's the whole premise of your show. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, but as having studied psychology, looked at a lot of the stuff, I've never actually watched the show, but yeah, there was a massive backlash from in amongst all the psychological field where, like, in a lot of journals where they were saying, and networks and that, where they were saying it was so underhanded and deceitful the way it was handled. And yeah, they're going to struggle to get anyone from out of the field to actually come and be involved with them, because you got to renew your accreditation to maintain it, to be able to operate as a psychologist. So pretty much anyone who is involved is going to find themselves on the cold list.
Okay.
That they'll not be.
So you reckon it'll kick back against any psychologist who was on staff?
Well, any psychologist that's involved with it going forward is probably on the naughty list for the Christmas hampers. And psychologists are very, very, very good at remembering when you do the naughty things, because that's their job.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Never mess with a psychologist, because we know how to train an army of monkey. That's the whole point of psychology. We take you damn dirty apes and turn you into people. The DJ is a prime example. He's actually a chimpanzee that we've trained and put into a metal skin as a droid. He's not a person.
No one told me this.
Oh, I'm just hearing my origin story right now.
But you know what I'm like? The whole premise of psychology is to study and help people, and not create a situation that's going to have negative impacts and ramifications for people. And
Yeah.
13 Reasons Why, the producers of it went and sat with psychologists to get the details of these things, and straight up lied to the psychologist of what they were doing. And then they went, and the whole show was premised around those triggers. And it's stupid. Like, if you're going to lie to people, don't lie to psychologists. We will remember you. And we can make fun of you in ways that actually hurt.
So, note to self: entities that remember things for a long, long time: the internet and psychologists.
Mm-hmm.
And elephants.
Oh yeah, an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
But back to this topic. Yeah, Netflix has been doing well with sci-fi and fantasy, and we've seen it with the Strange Things, for example, with all the sci-fi movies like the Cloverfield, like the Real Paradox.
Is that actually a sci-fi thing or a weird drug effect?
Cloverfield. I think at this stage it's starting to become a drug-affected nightmare.
Like, I watched the first one, and I haven't really bothered with any of the rest, because it just didn't really deliver what, like, all the hype, what just didn't deliver the promise.
Yeah, it didn't really work for me either.
And I'm one of those people, like, I've watched so many movies, I can almost guarantee you I've forgotten, so I have watched. And that Cloverfield was one of those ones that I actually kind of wish I never. That's a part of my life that I'm never. And the rest, and like every other one since then, never bothered. Just the first one, so bad. It just seems to be getting more. It's like a bad case of where the original Rocky movie enjoyable, and it just continued on. They're hoping
Or like Alien.
Oh, let's
or
not.
Rambo. When
Oh,
Rambo was first filmed, that was an enjoyable movie, but it got worse.
yeah, but
Cloverfield
people
never
still
started that high.
but people remember more of Rambo 2 than First Blood. Though.
Oh hell no. People remember the first one because the whole taking on the sheriff, the station. That's the whole.
Oh, come on. That versus Rambo on the horseback trying to battle against a helicopter. Come on.
Well, actually, in that one, you're looking at there. That's
Rambo
the
3.
main
That's
scene.
one.
There is actually the shooting the helicopter with them.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually Rambo 3, because Rambo 2, I think, is where he goes get the
Vietnam War.
Yeah, the missing in action guys.
Yeah, and I think that last scene where he just takes a minigun and just shoots the entire office. That was also a classic scene too.
But Rambo, like First Blood, like there's actually a novel that's based on, and the original, like they've actually changed the ending so it's more of a happy ending. In the actual original novel,
I hate that.
He died, and it was sad.
Yeah.
But they had to have a happy ending in the movie, and so the novel was reprinted with a happy ending.
What the hell?
The original book is actually apparently a brilliant read. Like I've had a few people recommend me, and I got to try and get hold of it. It's one of those ones. It's hard to get hold of the original print of.
Reminds me of A Clockwork Orange. The American version cut out the sort of the final act.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to the part where he breaks out of where he gets out of prison and goes through that whole thing with the being tortured by the music, and then he does a couple of other things and it ends. But the British version has the last couple of chapters where he runs into his old friends and he meets a girl and settles down and all that.
So take out the happy ending and just replace it with a gruesome.
Not really the happy ending, because that's not what A Clockwork Orange is. But it was more about the ending of A Clockwork Orange was more about how he grew as a person and grew out of being a psycho.
Yeah,
but the American version just ends with him going back to being a psycho.
And the whole treatment process and how it operates and the mind controlling, behavior conforming sort of stuff. And a lot of the American stuff, it just revolves around that. And I think that's actually known as the CIA version in some areas.
Kubrick was Kubrick was a crazy guy when it comes to directing movies like those.
It's originally a book by a guy named Anthony Burgess.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, Kubrick had never actually read the original ending because he was in America at the time, so he only had access to the short version.
The Cliff Notes version.
No, the version that cuts off the last chapters. Like, it's literally just, instead of having a chapter or two about him growing as a person and all that, it's literally just ending with him breaking his programming and being, oh, yep, I'm cured, back to killing people.
Yeah. And actually, there was actually a stage performance of the book that Kubrick went with. So he wasn't even the original for the script. He actually took someone else's script. And the script he got was an adaptation, and it was a shortened.
Okay, didn't know that.
So, well, that's something I did hear that somewhere once before. I think it was back when I was the original script taken off the book was the full length, and there was an abridged, shortened version of it that was a little bit less confronting for some audiences, more of the attacking mind control the corporation. I think it was from the hippie days or something like that in the 60s and 70s or early 80s. And then
it's a 60s book.
And then Kubrick got hold of one of those and made it into a movie. So that's what I've heard. Whether or not that's correct, I have to go and research it. But it's not one of my more favorite things.
Okay. Or do you remember what's his name? Terry Gilliam's Brazil?
Which version?
Yeah, the Americans cut off the ending of that as well.
It's
because there's basically obvious spoilers for a 30-year-old movie. There's a dream sequence where he breaks out of being tortured, and weird, surreal things keep happening. So you're like, is this real or not? Then he gets out, and it cuts back to the torture chamber, and they're like, oh, poor bastard, his mind's completely gone. But the American version cuts just before that, so it looks like he gets his happy ending.
Yeah. It's the same as have you ever seen, there was a old silent movie, Metropolis? About a robot breaking free and all this, and then it was redone with more modern music and all this sort of stuff. There was an American release and a release for everyone else in the rest of the world. Like
Yeah.
the Americans have to have stuff that's just wrong. Like they change.
Remember
spelling of
American Kath
words.
and Kim?
Oh,
I couldn't stand it. I couldn't actually stand the original Australian
Okay.
version.
oh man, that was
An
horrible.
American version of Kath and Kim, isn't that they have a talk show for NBC or whatever? And they got two women in whatever is that what you're talking about?
No,
Nope.
it was
No.
you know, like Kath and Kim, the show about the Bogans.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, well, America saw that and thought, let's make our own version of it, and it was like completely butchered. It lost whatever charm it had, and just wasn't any good at all.
If I recall correctly, one of the actresses in that show is the actress for the movie Hellboy as Liz, the pyro chick, and seen Hellboy.
Lots of people have seen Hellboy, and
Yeah.
I love your description. The pyro.
Oh yeah. Well, she was a chick.
She was a pyromancer. She was a lady, not a chick. A chick is like a little bird. Sorry there to all the ladies who may be listening. He always wonders why he never seems to be able to get a date.
The competition is still open.
Good segue, guys. Good segue. But back to the Netflix arc.
Are you trying to change the subject away from you not being able to get a date?
Oh,
Of
Netflix.
course he is.
Netflix is one way to get me a date. I will say that.
No one will ever Netflix and
no.
chill with you.
Anyways, guys. So with that in mind, Netflix have ordered some new sci-fi shows coming out soon.
Do we have any names?
Battlestar Galactica for one.
Oh,
Another.
With Katie Sackhoff. I don't know.
So it's coming back again, is it?
Yeah. There's another one called Another Life, which centers an alien mission. Then there is the Lost in Space reboot.
I have to admit, I want to see the new Lost in.
I've been told it's pretty good, even if it's different to the original. So sounds like they've done a good job updating it to modern taste.
Yeah.
I just can't get past what they've done to Robot.
I haven't seen any of the stuff on it yet, so yeah, I'll have to try look for
It was funny that you mentioned that, Professor. I saw an article about how many of the women on Twitter were saying like, "Oh, the robot looks hot. The robot looks hot."
Okay, it just looks like a generic sci-fi robot to me.
Okay, so it's not the old warning, Will Robbins.
No.
No.
That was half the thing that we loved.
Danger.
It does say Danger Will Robinson.
And it was funny that people and the host of the creators of the Netflix robot was saying they said some response. They were mainly saying like nice butt robot primarily.
I'll put a link in the chat. There's a photo of the robot.
Okay.
So it's different to how I remembered it from the trailer, but obviously the trailer must not have had a full body shot like that.
And they're going, that's hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the DJ has a chance.
I'm getting very worried about these women. Maybe their boyfriends are called Bob.
Funnily enough, the
Short
response
for
from Netflix.
operated boyfriend.
Funnily enough, Netflix's response was, "Excuse me," which I find like, oh, that's just brilliant.
So a new Battlestar Galactica.
No,
That should be worth it.
how many Battlestar Galactica series have there been? I mean,
I think this will be the third one.
third one.
There was the original one from like the 60s or the 80s or whenever, and then the one from the early 2000s.
I think this is going to be a flow-on from the 2000s version because Katie Sackhoff was in that. And there was also a spin-off from that as well already. So
Yeah,
if you're going
Caprica.
to count them as if you're going to count them as separate ones, then this will be the fourth, or actually no, the fifth, because there was another spin-off from the original as well.
Okay, wow.
Plus, then you've also got the movies from the original.
Yeah.
They were so much fun.
For those who do not know who Katie Sackhoff is, she is the actress that played Riddick, the movie, as
Bounty Hunter.
Dahl. That's her name. That was her Dahl. Dahl. Yeah, the bounty hunter.
And only if she asked me nicely. And she was also in Longmire as one of the deputies.
Victoria Moretti.
Okay.
She was also Dana Walsh in 24.
Okay. Sorry, I just got a message come up here from a friend about apparently Fox made Ryan Reynolds remove a Disney joke from Deadpool 2.
Oh.
And in an interview, he's saying apparently, as I look back at it, I think it may be that it was a wise decision, although it kind of hurts because they made him take it out. It's a bit of a sore spot for him.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan Reynolds after.
Oh, what the hell did you just post, DJ?
This is the Netflix response, by the way, to that robot. How
Put that in the show notes. It's
Yep.
just what the hell.
It's like I said, people were so obsessed with that robot. Netflix's response was, "Y'all need Jesus." That's all they said. Oh.
People have been saying that to you for a long time. Oh, you're talking about that robot, not yourself. Sorry.
But
Anyway.
anyway, speaking of sci-fi and theme, Professor, you were talking about one of the greatest, one of the unknown sci-fi writers, E. Doc
Not
Smith.
one of the unknown.
Oh, not unknown, not
Just 'cause
unknown to
you-
me. Unknown to me.
That's not our fault that you're such a stunted. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying not to swear and abuse you. I'm remorseful. Sorry there, folks. We're actually talking about E. Doc Smith,
Yep. Famous sci-fi author
one of the original great.
and a chemical engineer with 2 degrees.
Didn't he get his
He's a pretty
doctorate or
smart
something
guy.
as well at one point?
A what, sorry?
Didn't he get his doctorate as well or something? At one point?
Yeah, he's E. Smith, PhD.
There you go. So, yeah, sorry. I remember reading some. I know he had the title Doc Smith. That doesn't mean back in those. But yeah, good old Edward L. I read his books.
So,
I didn't know you were that old, Bucky.
Well, I didn't read them when he was a kid.
Bucky's showing his age.
Yep. But anyway, the reason we're bringing him up this week is because his birthday was on May the 2nd. And so May the 2nd, 1890, which would put him as rather old these days. But he did die in 1965, age 75.
Mm-hmm.
But he's famous for his own work, his chemical engineering and Skylark and Lensman, and also for inspiring other greats like Heinlein.
Yeah. He also had a series called Subspace, and his stuff was always so much fun to
So tell us more about the Lensman universe.
I think Bucky's the best option to tell us a bit about that.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm seeming a little bit fanboy. Well, the whole thing with the Lensman series is that's actually a battle between 2 major entities that are so advanced as a race that if they actually came to battle against each other directly, it would probably actually see the destruction of the universe. One side is ultimate good, the other side is ultimate evil, and the Lensmen are the tool that is used by the ultimate good, where they generate they create life on different planets, and then they give them these things called a lens. And you read through the stories, and yeah, the number of times the Earth Earth and different planets are destroyed and repopulated. Apparently, Atlantis was one of the ultimates, but then it was destroyed by the ultimate evil.
Cool.
And some of the things he has in the stories, it's just so ridiculously cool. And you look at it and you're going, "Oh, some of this stuff is only just coming true." It was predicted back then. Like they could use the lens the lens was a thing they wear on their wrist, and it was used as an identifying badge. And as they operated like police officers fighting crime. But then they had the lens, and they could talk to each other through the lens and communicate. And it was also a universal translator, all that sort of stuff.
Which is pretty cool because that's basically a smartwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Only 100 years before its time.
And this was before Dick Tracy came around. He started putting stuff up. Like this is like literally like the Dick Tracy era, and Dick Tracy had a wrist communicator that he used as well. But he was just a radio, whereas this was taking it to the next level.
Didn't Red Dwarf as well, as I last recall, had where there was a pocket watch as well, where
Who doesn't?
no, not a pocket watch, wristwatch.
Yeah, but the Red Dwarf was in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but 100 years before that, all this sort of stuff, like people thought it was the most fantastic and ridiculously unbelievable thing. Skylark I'm not going to take anything away from any. You get hold of the books and read them. Like you'll sit down, you read the first one, and you'll be going, I want to read more. I want to know what happens next. I want to know what happens next. And you go through the whole thing. And
most of them are available on Project Gutenberg for free as ebooks.
I actually went looking through on Amazon.
So public domain.
I actually went looking through on Amazon, and I think I found all 14, I think it is, of his work. And yeah, you can buy them for about $250.
Whoa, like paperback or hardcover or something?
That was paperback. Hardcover, some of them as special editions are like $50, $60, $70. But I think it's going to, because it's also got artwork and so forth with it.
Oh yeah.
So some of these stories, they were released as part of periodicals, the same as Conan the Barbarian was originally released as part of a serial. It was appearing in magazine and so forth, like science fiction magazine.
Yeah, interesting trivia for you guys in terms of Buck, you're a DC fan, are you not?
I am.
You familiar with the Green Lantern series?
Relatively.
Two of the Green Lanterns are actually from the names are actually from the Lensman novels.
Yep.
One is Arissa Raab, RRAB, and Arissa, the first name is actually from the Lensman novel, and the surname is actually the writer of the character, the writer of the series, Mike W. Barr, backwards.
So self-insert fan fiction before Tumblr.
Yep. But if you want some really cool trivia though, apart from that, the actual characters, like when you see when you look at the cartoon series, the recent one for Green Lantern, the big heavy muscly alien
Kilowog.
Sorry, I was struggling to remember his name. Is also based very closely on one of the Lensman characters. You'll have to read the books to see who it was, but Lensman was actually one of the 5 finalists in 1966 World Science Fiction Convention. They judged Isaac Asimov's Foundation as the best all-time series. This was actually in competition with it.
So what did you say the competition is? I'll have to look that up.
It was the 1966 World Science Fiction Convention, and it was at that Isaac Asimov's Foundation was judged the best all-time series. Lensman was one of the 5 finalists in that competition.
Is L. Ron Hubbard in that as well?
Well, I haven't actually.
He was after that time, wasn't he?
I won't say for certain which one were.
Oh, that's cool. This so the 1966 World Science Fiction Convention was also where they presented the first pilot episodes of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to find a list of the finalists. I'm having to go to. I'm actually looking online here to try and find it.
By the way, the other Green Lantern that was also a tip of the hat to the Lensman is Edor. So it's Arissa and Edor. Those were the two. I
can't actually see the list here anyway. Sorry.
The list of book awards.
Yeah, the 5 finalists.
Okay.
At the moment.
Yeah, the wiki page doesn't have the finalists.
But it
has the awards.
The World Science Fiction Society coined the term WorldCon. So Comic Con forerunner was WorldCon.
So WorldCon Science Fiction.
Here we go. I found the Hugo Awards, which is the award that was presented at WorldCon.
Okay.
The best novel was a tie between Dune and Roger Zelazny's and Call Me Conrad, which had The Moon is a Harsh Mistress and Skylark du Quesne by Doc Smith. So Moon is a Harsh Mistress is by Heinlein, but one of Skylark was in there.
Okay.
He also was nominated for, let's see. Yeah, his Lensman series was runner-up for Best All Time, along with Barsoom, Future History, and Lord of the Rings.
Oh, there you go. You can't fault him as being unknown.
Yeah.
I apologise, people, that the DJ is so lacking in appreciation. But yeah, it's like all those books and like Dune. Who hasn't read Dune?
Seen the movie.
DJ. You've seen the movie. Great. Just go.
Hey! The movie was great.
Read the book. The books, like the books by Hubert, were just great.
Herbert.
Herbert. So I always
Yeah,
call him
read
Herbert.
the Herbert books and then don't read the other books by his son, Brian Herbert.
His son got onto some weird drugs, kind of changed it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, as in Frank Herbert.
Yeah, Frank Herbert wrote 6 books in the main Dune series. And then his son got together with Kevin J. Anderson, and they wrote like a prequel trilogy to that prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, and then they went and filled in the gaps between the other books. And I think there was one more prequel trilogy that they were working on.
But all the diehard fans that have actually read the original by Frank Herbert, yeah, absolutely abhor.
Yeah, the thing is, it's they made stupid mistakes, like and then they changed it halfway through one of the trilogies without putting a note in, because they have knives made out of the teeth of the sandworms, and if you take a knife away from a living body and put it in storage or whatever, it decays. So they create fixed knives which don't decay. But in the prequels, they got that backwards, and they were like, this knife is fixed, so carry it with you all the time. It's like, that's the simplest bloody thing to check.
Yeah.
But
And
is that why?
Let's be real here. The one group of people you don't want to mess with, science
Sci-fi
fiction
fans.
fans.
Yep.
Like literally, like there's that scene there in The Big Bang Theory where Sheldon contacts the Sci-Fi Network and is going through all the different areas and attacking them because they stuffed up on with and I think it was the end of the series of Alpha. And you guys know the episode?
No, I can't say I do. I don't really watch it.
Vaguely.
He goes on the phone and he's talking to all the different people from the Sci-Fi Network, and he goes, well, if you don't want to talk to people like me, well, then you shouldn't be calling yourself the Sci-Fi Network.
Was this the one where he's begging the Sci-Fi Network to bring back a TV show?
Yeah, it was Alpha's son. It was. So,
Yes, yeah. I've seen a couple of episodes of Alphas. That it kind of had a feel of X-Men, X-Men-y feel to it.
What does X-Men E mean? Does it mean like X-Men, or is X-Men E an actual X-Men series?
It has an X-Men feel to it in a sense where
Okay.
everyone has the special abilities, but they put it into a cop show. I was not really that fussed about.
Alpha's was more. There were some people that had special abilities, and that was what that was about. It wasn't everyone had special ability.
But then there was the premise.
There were good people, and there was people who were good that had powers, and people who were bad who had powers.
There was the premise of the group that was the antagonistic group, but it was founded by a man who was given the powers of immortality. But yeah,
I
Alpha's.
have no idea where you've gone there. Completely lost me. Do you know where he's gone there, Professor?
No, I haven't seen it, or I don't really know X-Men, so I can't follow him either.
I think we should just meet.
Yeah.
But so we've talked about the best sci-fi franchises. Speaking of sort of moderate to nearly mediocre sci-fi franchises, Ghostbusters, and man, that's gonna. And the recent news from Ghostbusters 2016 is that Paul Feig wants to make another Ghostbusters movie, a sequel to the recent Ghostbusters.
Did he actually look at how much he actually lost money in the first one, didn't he?
In the US, worldwide it made a profit, but in the US it didn't quite.
Do you guys want to know some figures? I've got some figures that
Give them
will.
to us.
Okay, the production cost for the total Ghostbusters movie was $144 million. Theatrical wise, box office domestically was $128 and $350,564. That's domestic. Internationally was $100,683,400. So worldwide, it was basically $229. $229. $34,000
million.
$229 million. $34,050.
Okay, so
the number processing units getting a bit hot there.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner was trashed for Waterworld because he spent $300+ million, and it was expected he wasn't going to recoup the money. He actually recouped that money on the US box offices alone, And yet and he left the story there as it was because he was being attacked by the critics because it wasn't apparently good enough. But it's one of those ones that people still seem to enjoy watching. Ghostbusters,
a cult classic.
struggled. It is getting up to being a cult classic.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters in the recent one, I haven't actually watched it because I don't know, I just didn't like the way the story was going. I actually watched the originals in the cinemas when I shouldn't have actually been in there, but I got to go in with my brothers. So I was only a little tacker at the time, but yeah, like the scene in the movie there, like in the original Ghostbusters, and where there's a set of stairs going up, and they go, oh, where do the stairs go? And everyone in the cinema, no queue or anything, we all just went up. Like that, it was the whole series, the whole original movies were fun, and the last movie didn't have that same feel. It was too forced, and it was too much of the what I call American comedy of we talk in a certain tone of voice and that's your cue to know that we're comedians. We're not actually saying anything funny, but you're going to laugh at us because we talk this way.
I agree with you. The humor in the original Ghostbusters movie, they were on point and well timed. This was just humor was just awkward, deadpan, and most of it was just attacking people. It was just insulting.
The original movies had two of the greatest comedic actors in American history, with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. Like, if you want two guys who are guaranteed to be able to generate a cult classic movie, let's look at those two. Like Dan Aykroyd, Blues Brothers, one of the all-time biggest cult classic movies. Like, just it's up there as being one of the biggest in history. Dan Aykroyd, Caddyshack, and so many others. The humor that those guys, they just play off each other so well. And then there was, if they're going to do a remake movie, why didn't they go with, like, there was cartoons that came out where there was the kids from the original Ghostbusters. There was a cartoon series back in the 80s, and everyone loved it. It did well. Why didn't they make it off of based on that? Where they had one where they had a big gorilla. That was fun to watch.
Oh, that one. I thought you were talking about the other cartoon series, but there's an interesting story with those two. The one with the Ghostbusters, the gorilla on it, and the other one. But that's in it because there was a court battle because with what you said.
Do you want to explain what's interesting about it, or you just want to keep repeating?
Actually, yeah, I will tell you. The controversy with that one was basically Columbia Pictures, the ones that made the the first Ghostbusters. When they were making that movie, they neglected to realize that the company that was making the company that already made the Ghostbusters already made a live action the same name. Columbia agreed to pay $500,000 plus 1% profits to the Filmation studios, but Columbia didn't want to license it, so they made it when they were making a live animated series. So Film Animation used the animation series, and Columbia proceeded to call it the real Ghostbusters cartoon to distinguish itself from that other.
Mm-hmm. But they could have done a live action movie of that. It would have been fun. People would have loved it. And you could have even had The Rock in a gorilla suit.
Like fellowship gorilla suits.
No.
He's appearing
No.
in so many other different movies. Like, put him in one where he would actually fit. Like, I'm sorry, there's so many movies that he's appearing in at the moment at Control.
Well, here's the thing though with the first two Ghostbusters movies, they were written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, and that was great. And then in the second one, in the new one,
hang on. Harold, say who Harold Ramis was. He was also one of the actors in there. He was he was the other professor.
He was Egon.
Oh no, that's sorry, I was confused myself between Ramis and Raimi. But yeah. So he wrote and starred in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them did. Yeah.
Both of them did. And a lot of the stuff with Bill Murray was just pure ad lib. And it just flowed. And the quality of those guys was such that it just, stuff was happening. And the cast and crew were all just like, hey, we'll just roll with this. And they end up with some of the most brilliant pieces of film that you can get in a movie. Like, you can't sit there and watch Ghostbusters and not have a laugh.
Yeah. I think the new Ghostbusters they were trying to do is like, we're going to add politics and the humor with their version of humor. Like the humor back in the day was wrong and crude, so we're going to use our humor. And not to mention the worst part was Chris.
I think it's interesting that in the space of a year, two much loved series were rebooted, and one of them was a complete flop, and the other was huge. I'm talking about Mad Max.
Oh yes.
See, yeah, I didn't mind the new Mad Max movie, but it's not the same as the original. And yeah, like I'm one of the old school. I think that it shouldn't actually have been called Max. It should have been called something else. Like just call it something else. It's not a Mad Max movie.
Come on, even with the Tom Hardy doing his dangest to sound like Mel Gibson.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's not just the Mel Gibson sort of thing. It's the storyline just went into something completely different from what the original and the way that the story was being held. Like the Beyond Thunderdome was stretching into something wrong.
Beyond Thunderdome is so weird.
The original two Mad Max movies, like director Quentin Tarantino. I remember seeing a documentary about Australian film and so forth, and he was talking about some of the things he watched, and he's in awe of the stuff that was coming out of Australia at that time. And he says he watched Mad Max and Mad Max 2, Razorback, and he said he was literally, his words were, he was having an orgasm in the cinema watching this stuff because it was so unlike the crap and dribble that was coming out. It was just so raw and so good. The whole premise of the stories for those it was purely Australian, and it was just completely out of different areas. The new Mad Max doesn't hold true to.
Okay.
But here's Mad Max. It launched a lot of careers. Like look at Mel Gibson after Mad Max, still remembered for.
Look at Hugh Keys-Burns, who played Toe Cutter in Mad Max and came back to play Imotan Joe in Mad Max. So his career's sort of gone on a bit of a horseshoe.
Yeah. But the funny story with the original casting for Mel Gibson in Mad Max, he actually turned up drunk and suffering from a hangover, where he'd been out partying with one of his friends before. He wasn't even supposed to be there for a casting. He was doing something else, and he got called in to do that. He turned up and he was all beat up and hungover and everything like that. So he was exactly what they wanted, just by being hungover. So
cool.
that's people talk about all these different bits and pieces, but if you look at the history of it, Mel Gibson stumbled into the role just because of the fact that he had a big night before, and the rest, as they say, is history. And then the Ghostbusters reboot. I don't think I'll ever watch it. I don't think
I saw bits and I will say this: they were trying to do so much things, and they were trying to attack. They were trying to be political. It was just a political. And if you want to know an interesting fact, I did a comparison with the new Ghostbusters, the first and second. The first Ghostbusters movie worldwide box office raised $295,212,467.
And the budget would mainly be
$30 million. $37 million for the Ghostbusters 2 as well. And
and yet they basically were a license to print money, because it was about having fun. That was what the movies were about.
Yeah, like slaughtered. And here's another interesting fact for you. Bill Murray in the new one, he was nearly sued to be in this movie. He was threatened.
Why?
Because Bill Murray said because one of the producers for the new Ghostbusters movie was saying wanted Bill Murray to be in there as a cameo, and Bill Murray was going like, nah, I don't want to be in this, and they sued him. They nearly sued him for.
You got to think you're onto a stinker when Bill Murray's going no, and then they sue him to be there, and that's the only way they're actually managing Bill Murray into the movie is to take legal action. Like, it's just so wrong.
That's just dumb anyway.
And that was actually, and ironically, that's all from the Sony hack. These were all revealed on the Sony hack from.
Well, the court code, all the legal documents would be available in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about something else though, because I'm getting angry.
And it is getting on there. We are now well over time. So can you introduce the next topic, please, DJ?
Yeah. So the next, we should go to a place where it's going to be where we can forget all this by going to a Studio Ghibli themed park, which is coming, but unfortunately that's coming in 2020.
Unfortunately. It's fantastic news.
Yeah, but I want it now. I want it now.
But you don't want them to rush it. And come on, like you're not going to get a Ghibli studio theme park coming out any quicker because they've got
Yeah.
and you can't when you look at some of the bits and pieces from out of that studio, like My Neighbor Totoro and so forth, like Spirited Away. They don't do half measure things. It's always breathtaking on the scope. The theme park's going to have to reflect that. Anything that's not there is just going to be ridiculously. And actually, where is it? It's going to be in Japan somewhere as well, isn't it?
It's gonna be in Aichi Prefecture's Lush Expo Park. So it's gonna be an Expo Park.
Aichi Prefecture, not Aichi. Aichi. The Japanese, they always do theme parks to an extremely great level. And then this is Studio Ghibli. This is one of those things set up. The fans, they're worldwide, and there's an.
But this is Japan, though. They can do it so easily. Like, I saw a video a long time ago about how they fixed the road in about a week.
Yeah, a couple of days for a sinkhole. But you got to build all the stuff, and you got to have the artwork and all that.
Yeah,
you've actually got to manufacture some of these things, and there's like roller coaster rides and so forth.
And if they're building like fiberglass statues and stuff, that's going to take them a while because artists don't like to be rushed.
And they've got some of the bits and pieces I'm looking at here in the art. It's not you go down to Bunnings and slap together a couple of bits of fiberglass with a couple of bits of wood, and hey presto, you're talking about, like as we said, like My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, all those amazing classic. Princess Monaco, Wind Rises. You've got some stuff there that's just going to be insane. I'm looking here. There's a picture of at least one roller coaster. There's a castle. There's a water area. There's castles. They've got the castle for Spirited Away and so forth, and all that sort of stuff. There's boat rides, everything like this is.
Speaking of roller coaster, you hear about this week with what happened at Universal roller coaster?
No.
Apparently, there was a roller coaster at Universal Studios Japan stalled, leaving 64 passengers dangling face down for 2 hours.
Oh, that's unpleasant.
And this was on a Jurassic Park themed ride, the Flying Dinosaur.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. Like it does need. I agree with you. It has to be perfect.
So the fact that it's actually going to be coming by 20, that's the thing that I'm like. It's confirmed for 2020. It'll be finished probably early 2020 or late 2019, and they'll be doing testing. And you'll see photos of it popping up around the world, and everyone's excited. Looks like they got a giant Viking ship ride. You know, the ones where they rocks back and forth?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like they got one of those there too. But
Buck, can we see you at Tokyo?
Mate.
Yeah, you're going to be our representative to the grand opening?
Mate, if I can get there, I would love to. And it won't be next year, it's the year after, because we're only in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
But, mate, if I can get in there, I would go.
We'll see a couple of happy snaps of Buck.
No, because I don't stand in front of the camera. I stand behind the camera. But talking about great things that are happy, shout outs for birthdays this week. It was the Red Baron's birthday, and it's just over 100 years since death.
Yep, his death in late April, shot down by the Australian anti-air gunner.
And then Machiavelli, who is actually described, I want to make sure it's right here, a humanist and a philosopher, not just a political schemer. He was known as a humanist. So that was Niccolo Machiavelli, who was a prince that was born in Florence in 1469, died in 1527. So given those that period, he actually lived to a pretty old age.
Yeah.
And another person we have to doff our hats to and respect, because it was her birthday this week, was the late great Audrey Hepburn, who is one of the most timeless women in movies, who originally started out wanting to be a ballet dancer and was studying to be a ballet dancer, suffered because of complications with her health during World War II, and so helping to support the resistance fighting against the Nazis, etc., putting on shows to raise money to help support the resistance. She died in 1993, unfortunately, but she's one of the most gracious ladies. She appeared in Breakfast at Tiffany's, My Fair Lady. The list goes on. If you don't know who she crawled out from under whatever. happen to sit under, and I'll be quite disgusted. And tied in with the Ghibli theme park, another happy thing to look forward to is there's a Ghibli film festival coming to Brisbane.
So from Thursday 10th of May to Thursday June 14 at 7 o'clock on the Elizabeth Picture Theatre at Street, there will be a Ghibli film festival. They'll be posting movies such as Kiki Delivery Service, From Up on Poppy Hill, My Neighbor Totoro, and Grave of the Fireflies. And it's only $12 per session. Better go there quick.
All those uni students who are missing lectures, I think I know where you'll be.
Yep, we have to send the tutors down there to round them up.
And not to mention today being Star Wars Day, we should give all those tutors Imperial March.
It's the date of recording, that is not the date of broadcast.
And for those who do decide to party hardy on Star Wars Day, just beware of the Revenge of the Six. When you got to go to work, it's going to hurt.
That is a terrible pun.
I know, but I'm an uncle.
End it now.
I'm an uncle. I'm allowed to do these. I'm expected to.
Oh, good thing you're not a dad to make these jokes, Buck.
Thanks a lot. Then. I thought I was a father figure for you. Try and drag you up into being a human being. But I'm gonna have to check out the listings for the Ghibli sessions and for the film festival and go watch Howl's Moving Castle, because that's going to be fun. I want to go see that on the big screen.
Yeah, that's quite a good one, and my friend's actually got the book, although it's quite different from the movie. The guy on the cover looks suspiciously like David Bowie in the 90s.
Wasn't he?
Now we know where David Bowie got the look from.
Yeah.
That would be that and Spirited Away. Those were the two. Those are by far some good Miyazaki movies. I want to see. I hope I can.
I think Lauren Bacall was in the Howl's Moving Castle, wasn't she?
Well, she was, as in the voice actress. Yeah, she was the Witch of the Waste.
Oh, another lady who was an all-time great. But I think we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start looking at, say, May the Force be with you, and good night.
Yeah. So that's the show for today. Visit us at That's Not Cat. Or you can buy some Nerds. You can add the podcast to your favorite RSS or iTunes. You can also follow us on our Facebook like page. Listening.
See you next week.
Au revoir.